So, very good evening. Just Triveni, very good evening. Just confirm loud and clear if I'm audible and visible. And all the concepts what we have discussed in the previous class, that's something about looping related. Is everything is clear? Once give me the confirmation. Voice is not audible. Once check now. Once check now. Am I audible or not?
Yes, sir, audible, sir.
Audible. Okay. Now once check again. Is it clear?
Yes, sir, clear, sir.
Okay. So any doubts in the previous class once confirm? In the previous class, we have worked with loops concept. Is everything is clear in loops?
Yes, sir, clear, sir.
Okay, so now tell me, I'll ask you a few questions. See, suppose if I want to read marks of 5 subjects, and if I want to calculate total and average, then how many variables I require totally? I want to read marks of 5 subjects, 5 subjects, and then I want to calculate total and average. So, can you tell me how many variables will require?
3.
Totally, how many variables?
3, sir.
Can you tell me how 3? Can you explain?
Total variable, average variable, sir.
And
And
yeah, tell me.
marks, to store the marks.
Like to store the marks, how many variables are required?
1 variable, sir. And
See,
we have for
in the question I'm saying that I want to read marks of 5 subjects. Now, can you tell me like how many variables I require? See, in the question itself, it clearly says that I want to read the marks of totally 5 subjects. So when you want to read marks of totally 5 subjects, then for these 5 subjects, how many variables you will be requiring? To store 5 subjects marks, how many variables you will be requiring? Is it not? Is it not 5 variables for 5 subjects once confirmed? If I want to read marks of 5 subjects like maths, physics, chemistry, English, Sanskrit. Then to store marks of 5 subjects, how many variables are required?
5 and
5 variables. And for total and average, how many variables you require?
7. Total 7.
Total 7 variables are required, na? So
Yes.
now tell me, if I want to read marks of an engineering student after completion of 4 years of engineering, then how many variables I'll be requiring? Suppose if there are 8 semesters, each semester, if you have 6 subjects, now can you tell me totally how many variables we require for writing this application? In engineering, there are totally 8 semesters. Each semester there are
8
6 subjects.
variables.
No, listen carefully. There are totally 8 sems. Each semester is having 6 subjects. So totally how many subjects are there? First you tell me that. Is it not
48
48 subjects plus 2 variables for average and total?
total and done.
So totally how many variables are required?
50 variables.
50. So is it a good programming practice to declare 50 variables and read data into that? And do you think uh, we build such kind of applications easily without any error? Is it good programming practice to declare 50 variables and read data inside that?
No, sir.
It will become a very tedious task. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So instead of declaring like 48 variables for reading for 48 subjects, if you can declare one variable, if that one variable itself reads like 48 subjects marks in the consecutive memory locations, like this is subject 1, subject 2, subject 3, then such variables are known as array variables. So can we define what do you mean by an array? An array is nothing but a variable which can hold multiple values of same data type in the consecutive memory locations. That's we call actually an array. So in software development, whenever you want to work with large volumes of data, that to be referred by one single variable name, then it is always recommended to work with arrays concept. So have you understood the need of arrays first? Because once you understand the need, then programming easily we can understand.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay. Now let's write a small program. So what I'll do is I'll declare one array with the name ARR, and I want to store 10 integers inside this. So before I start working with programming, I would like to ask, can you tell me totally how many bytes of memory will be allocated for this variable ARR? I can use one operator called size of, and using this, I can display the total memory occupied by this ARR variable. But before I run this program, I would like to ask you that how many bytes of memory will be reserved for this particular variable ARR. Any guess?
10.
Think twice and tell me once. See how many, like once I say integer ARR of 10, like how many numbers I'm going to store? How many numbers I'm going to store? Is it 10 numbers? Is it 10 numbers I'm going to store? And can you tell me like how many bytes one integer occupies? One integer number occupies.
2 or 4 bytes.
2 or 4 bytes. On modern compilers, how many bytes it occupies? Like compilers like code blocks and Dev C++, how many bytes it occupies?
4 bytes.
4 bytes. Then one integer variable means one data occupies 4 bytes. Then 10 numbers, how many bytes it will occupy?
40 bytes.
Then you said 10 earlier. Now you can
Yes.
40, you got it or not?
Yes.
So what happens, like consecutive 40 bytes of memory will be allocated, and in that you can store the data. Now, if I want to print uh, the data which is available in that memory locations, then what I can do is I can say print of percentage D ARR of 0. That's nothing but whenever the array is created, then the consecutive memory locations can be accessed by using their index numbers. The index numbers will start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So suppose array size is like 50. Suppose array size is 50, then your last index will be 49 actually. Means the last element of the array is found at total array size minus 1. So using those index numbers, we can access the array elements. So when I say percentage the AR of 0, I'll get the data which is stored at AR of 0th index, and you'll be surprised to see some unknown number, and this is known as garbage number. Means we are not sure what kind of number we'll get it. So if you want to print the next number, that will be at AR of 1 actually. Okay, and you can print this in new line /n, and you can see like first number we got 8, second number we got 0, and you can see the third number you can print here. So can you guess and tell me how many print statements I need to write it? How many printf statements I need to write to print all the 10 array elements?
10 statements.
10 statements. Do you think writing 10 statements is a good programming practice?
No, sir.
No. But when you look at these 3 statements, what is changing every time? Is it
Index.
index variable? Then can we take one variable called I, and can we put it here that I, and can we repeat one single statement totally 10 times, and this is going to save our lot of time actually. You can say something like this, and once you print and display all the elements of the array and check it out what it displays. So we got array with some elements, but you'll be surprised to see that we are not getting any standard data. We are getting some unknown numbers, and this is we call actually the garbage data. This is what we call the garbage values actually. So whenever you declare an array, it is always recommended to initialize that data with zeros. Like in ordinary variables also I said. So if you want to initialize all the array elements to 0, then you can simply write like this. That's nothing but you are trying to initialize the first element of the array. And once you initialize first element of the array, all the elements of the array will be initialized to 0, you can see here. And if you want to print these array elements along with the index numbers, then you can say print like percentage %d. In the place of first percentage %d print I value, it will give you the index. AR of I, it will give you the value. This is known as declaring an array, initializing with 0, and displaying along with their index numbers. Is this clear, Triveni, up to now in arrays concept?
Yeah, sir, clear, sir.
Okay, today I'll just explain you the basics only. And imagine, like I want to initialize the array with some elements actually. Okay, so what is the array size? Like 10 elements. So like 3, 6, 7, 8. I have initialized with only 8 elements. Then remaining elements will be automatically assigned to 0. And if you want to initialize those elements also, then you can initialize with some data items, and you can initialize it like this. So this is how we can declare an array, initialize the array with 0, or initialize the array with the data, whatever we want to assign it. But let's try to understand that how many types of arrays are there. There are totally two types of arrays. Means arrays are defined based upon two parameters. One is based upon the type, and second one is based upon the dimension. So based upon the data type, there are two types. One is character arrays, second one is numeric arrays. Numeric arrays and second one is character arrays. This is based upon the data type. Based upon the dimension, like 1D array and multi-dimensional arrays. So let's try to understand where this 1D array and 2D, 2D array and multi-dimensional arrays will be useful in your real life applications. So you can just open the browser and you can see here. Real life applications are 1D array. And you can just go to images and you can see here. Whenever you want to represent data in a single row actually, then you can work with single dimensional arrays. But whenever you want to represent data in the form of rows and columns, then you have to work with multi-dimensional arrays. So for example, if you see the sitting layout in a theater while booking a ticket for a movie, so the seats arrangements will be in the form of rows and columns. So that is the best example of the multi-dimensional arrays. But if you see, like in IRCTC app, if you see the train positions actually, the coach positions, is it clear? Let me check here. Coach positions. So if you see the coach positions actually, then these coach positions are actually represented in the form of single dimensional array. The coach positions will be represented in the form of single dimensional array, and inside a coach, the sitting layouts, if you can observe, the sitting layouts will be represented in the form of double dimension arrays. So this is actually, as an end user, you will be visualizing that the seat 35 will be here, 36 will be here. But internally, the data representation takes place in the form of arrays only. So when you see any real life application, when you see any app and see how all the coaches are represented, like S1, S2, S3, and these bogie positions are actually represented by using the concept of single dimensional arrays. You can see here S1, S2, S3, S4. So this is the best example to understand the single dimensional arrays concept, and the sitting positions are represented in the form of double dimensional arrays. See here, this is single dimensional arrays, the coach positions. So this is just I'm explaining that in real life how these applications are built, but programmatically you need to understand how the data is represented. So now suppose if you want to read data from the user, I don't want to assign like this, I want to read data from the user. Then if you want to read any input from the user, then you'll give printf entry number, and by using scanf statement, percentage d comma ampersand of ar of I. Ar of zeroth position is the first element, but you need to give this statements totally 10 actually, because you want to read 10 elements. So instead of writing 10 elements, like 10 statements, you can use simply one statement. For I equals to 0, I is less than 10, and you can say I plus plus, and you run it, this loop, and you can see here, you can read 10 elements of the array. You can read 10 elements of the array like this. Along with the index numbers I have displayed. So Triveni, can you write a program to display these array elements in reverse order, like from last index to 0th index? Will you try this program?
Yeah, sir, I can try, sir.
Okay, so I'll give permission to share the screen. We just try it. And don't take array size as just 10. What you can do is, you can ask the user that how many elements you want to store, and after that you declare the array with that particular size. So you can share your screen and you can start writing the program. So what you do is you declare one variable with the name size first actually. You declare one variable with the name simply size. Okay, but after that what you do is you don't declare the array. You don't declare the array. You just ask the user like how many elements you want to store. Or enter size of the array. Any prompt message you can give it, no problem. Enter the size of the array. Okay, now using scanf, you read the input. Okay, now after this statement, you declare an array saying that integer ARR of, in brackets, you write size variable. But everyone, whoever is watching this video, please do understand that in modern IDs only, you can declare the variables wherever you require. But if you are working with old traditional IDs like Turbo C2 and Turbo C3, this program will not work. It will throw an error. Okay. Now you can write a for loop for reading the data. So you need to declare one variable. Yeah, integer I equal to 0, I is less than size, I plus plus. And write printf and scanf statements to read the data. No, 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 no. Array index always starts with 0 only. You can say ampersand of ARR of I. Okay, so the size of array statement, you can remove it. That's not required for us. Okay. Now, you can say integer I equals to size minus 1 actually. You have to display the array. No, no. This for loop only you just modify it. Integer I equal to 0 you have written now. Line number 17. There, line number 17. There, you have to say I equals to size minus 1 because we want to display elements in reverse order, like last to first. Suppose if there are 10 elements, then the index will be at ninth location. Okay, and now we have to say I is greater than or equal to 0 condition, 0, and it should be I minus 1. Is very good. Fine, everything is fine. You just run this program and see. And this time it won't give you any garbage value. So you can just check it out. You can say 5 elements. Yeah. Okay, and you got like you have to give slash n so that all your data will be displayed in the new line. And one more thing, what you can do here is uh, enter first number, enter second number, enter third number. I should get it like this. So enter percentage d number. Okay, and you can give in the place of percentage d I plus 1 you give. Very good. Fine. Now what I want to do is, see in this example, what you have done is you are inputting the data, but I don't want to input the data. I want to fill the array with even numbers automatically. Then line number 12 and 13 you can remove it, and you can say simply ARR of I equals to your first even number, like say E, and put semicolon, and you generate the next even number by adding 2 to this existing number, like E plus equals to 2. 2. And now you have to declare one variable above, like integer size, with the name E, and assign your first even number, that is 2. Now if you check and run this program, it will ask you first question like what is the size of the array. Once you provide your size, immediately it will give you an array with even numbers. You can simply run this and check automatically. So suppose if you want to get index numbers beside this, then in line number 18, you can say percentage d hyphen percentage, and you can print I value. Yeah. No, no, not I plus 1, I only, I only, because index numbers we want as it is. Okay, and you can simply run this program and check and give the number as 10. 10, that's nothing but 10 elements. And from ninth index to till 0th index, all the even numbers will be displayed to you. Fine. Now, suppose you don't want to fill this array with even numbers and you want to fill this array with, suppose some random numbers actually. I don't know, like some random number I want to use it. Then what you can do is, you can use a function called rand, R-A-N-D, rand. Line number 12, we can update it. AR of I equals to I equals to RAND rand function, brackets opening and closing, and E plus equals to 2, that you can remove it, that is not required, and that variable also you can remove it, line number 4, that is also not required. Okay, and what you do is line number 16, you don't display it in the reverse, you display it from the beginning. So you say I equals to 0, I less than or equal to size, so not equal to, less than size, I plus plus. Rand function is available inside a header file called stdlib.h. So you have to include that header file also. Okay, now you can just run this program and check what kind of output you are getting. So you'll get some random numbers, but still you can control that. Like what you can do is, if you want to get random numbers only, like 2 digits, then you can say percentage of rand function, percentage symbol you use it. After this, no, not after closing the bracket, because rand function is going to generate some garbage number we don't know. But when you say percentage of 100, it will give you a 2-digit reminder actually. If you say 100, you'll get a 2-digit reminder, and we don't know what, but one thing is very sure, that we get a 2-digit number. We'll get a 2-digit number. You can simply compile and run. You'll get some 2-digit numbers, you can see here. Now, again, you run this program and check whether you are getting same numbers or numbers are getting changed. You're getting same numbers, the numbers are not getting changed. Why? Because once the random function get initialized in the memory, it will display the same numbers. But what you can do is, like if you want to uh, display different numbers, then you have to work with one more function, that is srand. So beginning of for loop means after line number 10, you write one function called srand. Srand, this is the function. This is we call seed rand, rand, rand. And in the brackets, you write time of 0. That's the thing, but in brackets, time function, no, time, parenthesis opening and closing, and 0. 0, you have to write it. No, not in parenthesis. Inside the time function parenthesis, you put 0. So this time function will generate time in milliseconds, and that number will be given to srand. Srand will initialize the seed rand. That's something. But every time, whenever the time changes, the rand function will generate new set of random numbers. Now you can try this. And if it is time function is not declared, once you include one header file like time.h, no, you keep that header file as it is. One more problem is time.h you include it. Otherwise, I'll tell you there is another problem. Yeah. So again, you can run this program and check. This time again you give 5, but you'll see that some different numbers are generated. So why it is forcing you to include time.h is, you have saved your file name with .cpp, and cpp is very strict in header file inclusions. But if you have saved this file with .c, then it won't ask you to include time.h header file. So if you see some Ludo game, dice game, and tombola, that housey game, okay, and online examinations, all these kind of application requires the random number generation. So one of the very, very important, even in OTP generations, we can see OTP, CAPTCHA, everywhere this random number generation is required. Okay. So this is about working with filling an array with random numbers. Like this, we can do a couple of programming examples. There is no end for the number of examples we can practice. So that's it in today's session. You just practice all these sessions, topics once, so that tomorrow I'll explain you some more important concepts. Is this clear, Triveni?
Yeah, sir, clear.
Have you learned something new today? Which you
Yeah,
have
sir, I
not?
learned S rank, sir.
Very good, very good. And understood where these type of functions are useful in future.
Yeah, sir.
Do you know this housey game 1 to 90 numbers are there?
Yeah, sir, yes.
You can design your own housey game number picker by using C language itself. Actually, means
Yeah.
whenever you run the program, you'll get like list of 90 numbers, and those 90 numbers you can read it out actually. Or you
Yeah,
can
sir.
develop your application in such a way that it will generate one number one after the other actually.
Sir, in S rank time of zero, zero indicates the 0 seconds, sir.
No,
It
no, no, no. It's not 0 seconds. We are just giving zero as a parameter to it to take the system time actually. So it will take the system time in milliseconds, and the time is given to random srand function. Means every time whenever you run the program, srand will get a new number actually. The time will be generated in milliseconds. So milliseconds every time they'll change or not.
yeah, sir.
So that is given as input to SRAND, and SRAND will generate new random set of numbers whenever the seed is getting changed. It means whenever the starting value to generate numbers is getting changed, it will generate new set of numbers actually.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So that's it in today's session. Keep practicing. And I told you to finish a few modules. See that you can finish at least by this weekend. Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. So thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care and see you tomorrow.